Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon or noon. I'm very honored to open this noon session of the Riga conference. We have one change, as Dr. Shalem announced before the closure of the first session. We will have one additional speaker. Our time is naturally shorter, but we will manage. Hopefully we have a variety of interesting topics, very interesting topics, which will enrich all of us. I wish us a very successful session, and I'm very pleased and very honored to give the word to a very nice couple from Norway, Dr. Marta and Dr. Haakon Smith, International Voice of Justice, and their topic is Holocaust education through music and the arts. What can be more lovely than music as a tool of education? Thank you very much. The microphone is yours.
Thank you very much. Rabbi Krieger, distinguished colleagues, it is a pleasure to be with you today. My wife, Martha, and I represent International Voice of Justice, an NGO formed in 2009 to promote Holocaust education through music and the fine arts, to fight anti-Semitism. With the ever-growing threats against the Jewish communities of Europe, no message holds more weight in counteracting bigotry than the remembrance of the Holocaust. I am a classical pianist, and my wife is a concert and opera singer. Together, we have performed frequently for Zionist organizations in the United States. The apartment complex in New York City in which we lived was home to many Jewish refugees coming from concentration camps after World War II. They became our beloved friends and entrusted their stories to us. As a result of their influence, we have endeavored to preserve the remembrance of the Holocaust through opera, theater, and memorial concerts throughout many nations of Europe. These productions have made use of visual, fine arts, dance, theater, and music through orchestra, chorus, and vocal and instrumental soloists in styles from classical, traditional Jewish melodies to klezmer. I will now call upon Martha to introduce some of our projects.
It's an honor to be with you today. Our work has a threefold focus. Number one, to remember the atrocities suffered by the Jewish people in the Holocaust. Number two, to honor the resistance workers who stood against Nazi fascism and saved Jewish lives. And number three, to support Israel in its fight for survival as a Jewish homeland and refuge. In 1995, I wrote a series of poems based on the lives of our neighbors, survivors of Buchenwald, Theresienstadt, Bielefeld, and Auschwitz concentration camps. Also included were Elie Wiesel, Anna Frank, Corrie ten Boom, a resistance leader, and Rachmil Friedland. The poems became a cycle of 11 songs classically composed by Marilee Eckert and myself, and Corrie's song, which was composed together with my husband Haakon. Eventually, monologues based on the lives of those in the song cycle were added. The work, Voices of the Holocaust, was premiered in Weil Concert Hall of the Young Hebrew Association in Washington Heights, New York City, in September 1997. This was a few days before Haakon and I moved back to Norway. Present in the audience were over 100 Holocaust survivors, including some of our dear friends whose stories were the basis for the work. Returning to Europe, we were confronted by the burgeoning growth of anti-Semitism. In an effort to show our solidarity with the Jewish community in Oslo, in 1999, Voices of the Holocaust had its European premiere as a Kristallnacht memorial concert in the Edvard Munch Museum in Oslo. We were working together with the Israeli embassy. Israeli Ambassador Amos Nadai mentioned that the night before the concert, the embassy had been plummeted with rocks and glass bottles by an angry mob of protesters. We realized that we needed to take this message as far and wide as we could. The work has since been performed in Finland with members of the Helsinki Philharmonic, Juhani Aaltonen, Finland's Musician of the Year, and Saris Dance Company, among others. Some months later, the same musicians were with us to perform the concert in Tallinn, 1 week before the opening of the first synagogue Estonia had had since the Holocaust. Then, memorial concerts were produced in France, in Berlin, Germany, and with Shamir, Latvia, as part of the first annual Jewish Music Festival. In Malmö, Sweden, the Kristallnacht concert was by private invitation only, as the congregation is under constant threats from neo-Nazis and Muslim hate groups, and the concert could not be advertised. The president of the synagogue in Malmö wrote, "The power of Martha Smith's voice as well as Haakon Smith's piano performance came from their commitment to the remembrance of Jewish suffering. It was an overwhelming experience, as proven by the standing ovations, the people's faces, and their comments afterward." Another work, Voices of the Resistance, a series of monologues based on the lives of resistance workers who saved Jewish lives throughout Europe during the Holocaust, was produced in France and Germany. The hour-long production features instrumental music intermingled among the stories of those heroes of the resistance. In 2010, we produced Beethoven's opera Fidelio, a Holocaust memorial, in 5 cities of Poland: Warsaw, Krakow, Lublin, Łódź, and Wrocław. In each city, we gratefully met the audience with standing ovations and critical acclaim. Beethoven's original concept was set in a political prison of Spain in 1700. This production was set in Auschwitz, 1945, at the time of liberation. During the overtures, films and photos of pre-war and Holocaust-related events were projected onto a screen across the stage. Among the images were Kristallnacht, Warsaw and Krakow ghettos, and arrival at Auschwitz. Also featured were images of the Polish resistance who worked to save the lives of many Jewish people. The Polish National Radio Chorus, together with a cast of international soloists and the Beethoven Academy Orchestra of Krakow, were participants in the production. The stage director was Julia Pevsner, the current artistic director of the Israeli Opera, and the conductor was Dr. Piotr Sulkowski. The editor-in-chief of the world's leading opera magazine, Opera UK, John Allison, wrote, "One of the most musically gripping productions of Fidelio I have encountered. It was good to hear Beethoven's music articulated with such urgency by a well-balanced cast. They delivered compelling performances, every one of them believable and worth hearing. In charge of the Beethoven Academy Orchestra, Piotr Sulkowski conducted with exciting theatricality. The overture was gut-wrenching in its impact. So well matched was the film material to the musical rhythms and pulse that I know I wasn't the only one choking on emotions by the end of the overture." In 2012, the play Hana's Treasure Box was presented in a New York City Broadway Theater Festival. It was directed by Tomer Svolun, then a director at the Metropolitan Opera. In 2015, Hana's Treasure Box ran for 10 days in the Rashi Center for Jewish Art and Culture in Paris, directed by Julia Pevsner. A solo play, the story is about a Sephardic family living on an island in the north of Norway during Nazi occupation. They have hidden their identity as Jews over the centuries after their ancestors fled the Inquisition in Spain to Norway. The little daughter, Hana, has dreams of the Inquisition with no prior knowledge of the fact. The dreams serve as a warning to the family, causing them to eventually flee to safety in neutral Sweden for the duration of the war. The play uses Sephardic incidental music and traces anti-Semitism in Europe from the time of the Spanish Inquisition to the current attacks on Jews and Jewish institutions across Europe. The story serves to show the necessity of the existence of the nation of Israel as a Jewish homeland and refuge. Radio Judaica in Paris reviewed the work. Hana's treasure box was very moving. All of our history was presented by a marvelous actress. The play had great emotion, and that with the actress alone on the stage. She was accompanied by Stella Gutmann with her warm voice and a tonal quality reminiscent of the Judeo-Spanish style. The play was very touching and well interpreted, quite somber. The direction was well done. Hana's Treasure Box was a very beautiful play, extremely touching and memorable. Radio Judaïque FM, Paris, 2015.
Whatever their talents, abilities, and background, each person of conscience can use their resources to stand against the evils of anti-Semitism. Whether on the stage, television, movies, or in the classroom, the arts and music can serve as a powerful means to promote Holocaust remembrance and thereby fight anti-Semitism. We thank you for the opportunity to present our work. We will close with an excerpt from Voices of the Holocaust, where my friend singing and I'll be playing Elie Wiesel's Cry. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.